Here we are, next episode of Fuck Yeah Industrial! And this time we're getting into the vocals for the song Slave. Let's get into it!
You're a fucking slave, addicted to your face.
Once again, I will preface this video, I'm not using screen capture software. We're using a video camera to capture the screen. That's just the way it is. That's how we're doing it. So, let's get into it. So the vocals, let's listen to the song a little bit first, and then I'll get into the vocals.
You're a fucking slave, addicted to your faces, your data, your political spaces. The algorithm is a weapon used to manipulate political elections, psychographic data collected to predict our mental status. You're a fucking slave, slave. You're a fucking slave, slave. What can I disconnect? Fuck the virtual space.
So as you can hear, that is some of the song Slave. So we're gonna get into the vocals. Let's see here, let's just see. Vocals, the choral part, as well as some semi-rapping type stuff, or sort of. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. So the vocal starts right at the beginning. This is what it sounds like.
You're a fucking slave, addicted to your faces, your data, your political spaces, the algorithm.
So that's the main vocal. So let's just go into this. So there's several things. There's a couple of EQs on this and a compression. If you watched the last series of videos about .execute, I did use presets for a lot of the vocal chains. This is the same case here. I did use presets. I used the multi-band compressor, the vocal preset actually. Where is it? Right there. I used that preset for the vocals. I may have tweaked things here or there. Nothing too special. The reason why I did it that way is because, once again, this was a month-long challenge, and I was trying to get the stuff out as quickly as possible. And you know, after I got the vocals down, I went in and just used some presets, maybe tweaked things here or there within the preset, maybe not, depends. And that's kind of what it was. I'll show you the Parametric EQ, the first one. So this is another preset in Fruity Parametric EQ2. And if you're not familiar with this version of Fruity Loops, it is FL Studio 9 Producer Edition, so it is an older one. This is what I've been using for a long time now, since our album Ant, and this is a preset within there. It is the Vocal Presence preset. I don't know if I can't remember if I tweaked this a little bit just to kind of you know, kind of fit the vocal, or if I just used a preset. It looks like I just used the preset, but you know, these are the parameters. This is a typical vocal vocal EQing technique where you boost the highs in the 12,000 or 12K kilohertz range. You boost, or you take out in the 355 hertz, and end you really, or you take a bit out in 355 hertz range, and then in the low end you really cut that low end out, and it obviously you're taking a lot away, but it gives the vocal a presence that makes it kind of stick out of the track, so it's not so noisy, and it just kind of makes the vocal present. And I'll typically use this thing on most of the vocals in the tracks, maybe tweaking things here or there, just because I want the vocals to kind of sit out from the rest of the stuff. So there's a second EQ here, which I went in and cut out all the low end. For some reason, when I was recording this, when I was doing the vocal takes, I felt like the Parametric EQ, as you can see here, I took out all the low end, and I just felt like it gave the vocals a little bit. Well, let's just listen to it.
You're a fucking slave.
So if I take that off,
you're a fucking slave.
I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a bit of low end in there, and I didn't like that. I felt like if I cut some of that out, it actually made it sound better to my ears. So let's just listen to this without all the effects.
You're a fucking slave.
So it's a little warm, and there's a little bit of a lower, it sounds a little semi-bass here, not huge, not a lot of bass, but it sounds like there's some bass. So let's just add the compression.
You're a fucking slave.
So basically the compression kind of flattens everything out, and then what you do is you where's the parameter? You just give it a bit of gain to level it out in the mixer track, so it doesn't sound like the volume has been lowered. Okay, and okay, this is what
you're a fucking slave, addicted to.
So this is with the vocal presence EQ. So that's, and the compression.
You're a fucking slave.
I don't know if you can hear that, but it
you're
makes
a
it
fucking slave.
sound a little bit more crisper and a little bit more present. And then of course I added this additional EQ to cut out some of the lower end, because for some reason it just seemed to make it fit better. So I'll show you that again. And
you're a fucking slave.
It just seemed to cut all that lower end out, and it made the song sound, to me it sounded better. So and then of course there's a reverb, there's a vocal chain, well there's a effects chain happening in here. There's a reverb on, so there's a reverb here, and I think I used a Hall preset. That's pretty much what this is a Hall preset. Like I said, I used a lot of presets. I might have tweaked things here or there, but nothing extravagant. I just kind of set and go, because I wanted to get the ideas out as quickly as possible. And typically when I write, I mix while I write, because to me, having everything in a mono field, I just don't like doing that. So I typically mix things as I write. Granted, it's not the final mix, but it is just to give me an idea of what I'm kind of going for with the sounds and stuff. I know some people mix after they've written a song and that kind of thing, but I'm the type that mixes as you go, because you kind of get an idea, or you set things the way they're going to be rather than wait until the end to kind of figure that out. And for me, I just like having that set in the beginning. So let's see here. Yeah, okay. So there's this. Wait a second. Yeah, that's on. The next vocal is, there's a choral part here, so I'll just play that. Let's just turn this vocal off. So as you can hear, it's kind of this choral ambient sound. That was me singing, and and there's not, you know, there's not too many things I did to it. I think I gave it that. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I did something different with this. I think I did use the vocal preset on this, but what I did was I tweaked it. So I think no, actually I didn't use the vocal preset. Okay, I kind of did my own EQing on this. In the 10 kilohertz range, or 10 kilohertz range, I boosted, and when it gets into the mids, I lowered those a little bit, and then in the 600, actually, you know what, I didn't lower that. I lowered the bass. I cut out all a lot of the low bass or sub frequencies, and I lowered the bass a tiny little bit in the 294 hertz range, or 290 hertz range, and let's just listen to this without the EQ. So it's kind of once again that lower end is in there, and I didn't like that, so I added the EQ, and it kind of cut out the lower end, and it kind of made things fit together, and that's just kind of how it rolled with this. There's also a, let's just see here, there's an ambient effect on here, and it's a type of reverb. It's called ambience. I'm using a demo version. I don't know if I don't know what the difference is between the demo and the full version. This works. I don't know if I can change the parameters too much. Like I can change the presets that I'm using, but I don't know how much I can actually change the parameters with this. I don't even know if I know I used a preset, not entirely sure which one, because it never says up here, which I wish it would, but that might be in a modern version of FL Studio, a more recent version. Doesn't matter, this is what I use, and I went into the presets and just kind of picked something, and that's kind of how it rolled. That fit, and then when it came to tweaking the ambience, I just, in this bus, I just increased the level here of how much this curl was being affected, and that's just kind of how it rolled. So that's it for the choral part. There's another part in here. Let's turn that off. So there's a bit of a, let's see where it is. There's a,
well, I'm gonna disconnect.
so it's kind of a rapping part, and let's just, so let's play this a little bit.
Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the virtual space. Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the net. Fuck with the data you create.
So that part, once again, I used presets. I used the standard vocal preset in this fruity multi-compressor. I don't think I tweaked anything. It doesn't look like I did. I just kind of set things, and like I said, I was trying to get things out a little quickly. So, because I was doing a time challenge, it sounded good to me, so that's the way I did it. So, once again, I used the vocal preset in the Fruity Parametric EQ2. Didn't really tweak anything here, and I think I did the same thing here. Yeah, I cut out the low end. This would be called a high pass filter, and cut out a lot of the low end, and because it just sounded good to me. I can take all these off and show you what it sounds like. You can have a listen.
Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the virtual space. Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the net. Fuck with the data you create.
So that's it without the stuff. This is with the compressor.
Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the virtual space.
So it kind of levels things out. And then here's with the next compressor and the EQ, the vocal presence EQ preset.
Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the virtual space.
Makes it a little bit crisper, and once again, I'll play this again with the lower end, the high pass filter.
Well, I'm gonna disconnect. Fuck the virtual space.
So it kind of makes it sound a little bit more clear. There's not so much of that bass in there or low end, and it just, to me, it sounded good like that. So that's why I did it that way. So this this little wrapping section, there's a there's a reverb on this. Once again, it's a hall reverb. Normally what I've done with songs and using buses is typically I only have like a few of these buses, and I will actually, for almost every instrument, I'll use these two buses. Like I don't have a vocal bus or like a drums bus and shit. Like I don't do separate buses where the effects are different within those buses. I typically use the same bus because I've at least in the past I felt a lot like it needs to have a consistent sound, and it made it. To me, it sounded better. In the future, I might not do that. I might get a little bit more precise, and have different buses for different instruments, and just work that way. But typically, in the past, I typically have a standard bus structure, and I'll affect the instruments the way I want to. Using the similar buses, I just changed the volume here. So yeah, that's reverb bus hall. Let's get into the next vocal section. This is the kind of a, let's just, yeah, it's all on. Just making sure this is all on because I don't want to. So this next section, this is the last vocal section that is really different from anything else, and it's a little bit more aggressive. I did name it the Slag Agro Voc, and this is
Slave. Yo, fucking slave. Slave. Yo, fucking slave.
So that section is a little bit more aggressive. So I'll show you what I did with that. Once again, I used a multi-band compressor. Their vocal compression, I don't think I tweaked anything in here. I think I just set it and go. And I did like the distortion, the wave shaper on it. I did like that sound. It sounded a little bit more aggressive, and there's an EQ on here as well. I'll show you the EQ. Once again, standard vocal presence EQ. Once again, I used presets, didn't really tweak anything in here. And the wave shaper, I think I used, this waveform, I love this waveform. Like when I made it, it was like, oh god, this is perfect. And then I started using it on everything, because not everything, but like a lot of when I wanted to get a more aggressive, grittier sound across, I would use this wave shape, and it just seemed to work with everything, so I just used it a lot. So I'll take all the effects off and you can hear what it sounds like without.
Slave. Yo, fucking slave. Slave. Yo, fucking slave.
So that's what it sounds like without. We'll add the compression, squashes the sound, makes everything a little bit more uniform.
Slave. Yo, fucking slave.
And we'll add the EQ now.
Slave.
So it gives it a little bit more presence.
Yo, fucking slave.
And then we'll add the wave shaper, and as you can already tell, it is a little bit more aggressive, a little bit grittier.
Slave.
And a lot louder.
Yo, fucking slave. Slave. fucking slave.
And that's kind of the vocal section of this song. You know, the sky's the limit with this kind of stuff, with anything, with industrial music, you know, like if you want to distort your vocals, fucking distort them. If you want to like blast them out and EQ the fuck out of them and just like, you know, just make them inaudible, like you're just making them into noise or something, you can fucking do that too, you know, like the sky really is the limit. And if you're not sure where to start, just start fucking around, like just start doing stuff and experimenting. And you know, I personally think when you start doing that and you start kind of going, okay, this is kind of, you kind of get an idea of where you want to go and how you want to present your band or your music or your project or whatever it is, and you start to find your own voice. And you know, at first things, you know, at least for me, they were experimental. I didn't jump into Twitch in the beginning like I was in a band in my previous the city I was previously living in. And you know, a lot of that was just messing around and experimenting. Like even with the band, it was just a lot of it was just messing around, and you know, we're just kind of trying to find our voices. Granted, that band didn't really record anything officially, and we didn't really play any shows, and I ended up moving to the city I'm in now. There was one song I wrote that that I was hoping to use for that band, and I've never released it as an official Twitch release. It was something that I was intending on using for that previous band. I don't even, honestly, I gave the tape to a friend to take a listen to because I was just curious what he was, you know, what he thought of it. And I also gave him the very first Twitch release on tape, and I still have copies of the very first Twitch release, but he still has that tape. And every time I asked him, like, you know, I gave you this tape, like I would like it back, and he's like, oh, you gave me this. I'm like, no, I gave you that tape, so I don't have any more copies of that. I don't have any copies of that song. It's gone. He has it. I don't even know if he kept it, but that song is now lost to lost. So I don't know if he still has it or if he got rid of it or whatever. I would hope he has it. I would love to get that tape back from him, because I would like to have that piece of music history or of my music history. Some of the songs that were on the very first self-titled Twitch release, you know, they were in very the very beginning stages when I was living in that previous city. And then when I came here to Calgary, you know, I started writing, and I realized that, at least for me, I like working in a solo endeavor. I get things done, and they can be the way I want them to be. And you know, I just like getting shit done, and it's only on my terms. And you know, I don't have to rely on anyone to get shit done, and yeah. So that's it for this video. I hope you folks are enjoying these. You know, if you have any questions about this particular song or even other songs that I've done, please leave them in the comment section. You know, maybe, you know, let me know what you guys are doing, what software you're using or not. Maybe you're not using software and you're looking for your first steps and how to get started and stuff. I do have a Getting Into Industrial Music series, and I kind of go through some of the steps in order to kind of get your own little studio set up and kind of how to get started and stuff, so you might want to check those out. But that's it for this video. I hope you folks are doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're self-isolating and social distancing when you're required to do so. And yeah, see you in the next video. Fuck yeah.